And so many, people say, and I'm a Christian, and so in that world, it's never about the money. Guess what? It is about the money. It is
Mhm.
about the money. If you don't have money, you're going to be stuck in a situation like that. If you don't have money, you can't pay your medical bills. If you don't have money, there's so many. If you don't have money, like money makes the world go round. Welcome to Take Back My Brain with Laurie Hammer, where real healing starts in the brain. I'm Laurie, a functional nutritionist and mom who's walked the path from anxiety and burnout to clarity and calm. Each week, we're going to dive into brain-based tools like amino acid therapy, gut health, fasting, and faith to help you reclaim your energy, emotions, and sense of self. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. This is Take Back My Brain with Laurie Hammer. And today, our guest is going to be really exciting. So, we're going to talk about money. Hey, who doesn't want to talk about money? So, I'm really excited to have Laura Abshire on. She's a nationally recognized credit strategist, business mentor, and founder of Credit Dusters, which is a powerhouse company that helps people rebuild their credit, but more importantly, shift their mindset and create financial freedom with strategy and not shame. Laura, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Lori. I'm excited to be here and talking about one of my favorite subjects, credit, and also in terms of helping women. So thanks for having me.
I love it. I mean, and I know there's a ton of women on here like I need this help, right? I need this
Yeah.
help. We've talked about budgets and all those kind of things before, but I love the fact that this is super geared towards women and you're really helping people to rebuild without shame. And that is such a challenge. So, how did you get into this? Like, what was your emotional? Did you have a rock bottom with your credit? Did you have a rock bottom with finances? Like, how did you get to helping? How did you get to Credit Dusters, I guess?
Yeah, great question. So I actually kind of have I guess what you would call my origin story of how the business started, but it kind of bleeds into my own personal journey too. So this has been way back, probably 2006, seven.
Mm,
And at the time, my husband was in the mortgage industry. And so it was during the housing boom. And so tons of business coming in. And we had this sweet couple that came in, Jeff and Andrea, and they were applying for a home loan. And it wasn't uncommon for people not to be approved. So we kind of did the same song and dance. Hey, pay your bills on time, come back in a year, your scores are
right.
too low. We didn't think much more about it until Andrea came back a short time later and she's like, look, guys, you don't understand. Like, you can't turn me away. My husband is dying. He has stage 4 cancer and he could go within months. His
Mm,
wish is to purchase a home. Nobody in his family's ever owned a home, and he wants that for our children before he passes. And so we were kind of like deer in headlights, like, how can you say no to that? So
right.
my husband, of course, was like, sure, we'll figure it out, right? So
Hmm.
we started digging, and the repair industry really didn't even exist hardly at that point. It was just brand new. So we started researching and digging and experimenting and just trying different things. And 4 months later, they got approved for their home loan. So that was like super huge. And Jeff
Mm,
ended up living
yeah.
almost another year. So he got to spend some time with his family there. And
Awesome.
that was like the launching point of like, oh my gosh, this is something that could be truly life impactful for people who are in. I mean, now that's kind of a dramatic situation, but like there are people who are in similar situations.
Yeah.
And so we started experimenting. But the truth was, we were going through our own financial struggles and, being in our like, is even going into our 30s, raising a family. There's a lot of ups and downs.
Sure.
And I didn't really even reach ahead until I ended up being around 37, 38, and found myself divorced,
Mm,
4 kids, and they're looking to me like, what next? And that was the moment where I realized, dang, I've been living in survival mode for more than a decade, and it's time to
right.
get serious about what do I actually want my future to look like. So,
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many women out there that have been in
yes.
that situation or are currently in that situation. And I've heard you say in some of your videos that credit issues are usually about money. There's a mindset issue, there's a trauma,
Absolutely.
like you just said you're in survival mode. Like
Mhm.
what patterns do you see with women who are struggling with their credit that started in those seasons, whether it's overwhelmed, divorced, illness, chaos, trauma, whatever it might be?
Yeah, one of the main things that I see over and over that I recognize because it's where I lived for so long is that your underlying beliefs is everything because if you don't believe your situation can improve and you believe
Right.
that this is just what life is going to be like. And I would say in some aspects, it's kind of like aggravated by certain belief systems too, of like, just be grateful for where you are, bloom where you're planted. And so, in a sense, that can kind of feed into it as like, this is all there is. And so, just be happy with where you are and just settle. And so that's something that I see over and over is just that mindset of where this is just all there is and I can't really do any better. So I just need to just be happy for where I am.
Right.
So yeah, that's something that kind of breaks my heart when I see it because I'm like, no, there's more. And so
There is more.
I like to talk to people more about like their mindset behind everything and how important that is.
Yeah. Well, let's do that. Let's talk about that shame, that fear, those lies that we say to ourselves, like, life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? So
Right.
saying, I'm just not good with money, or I'm stuck. This is just the
Yes.
way it is. Suck it up, buttercup kind of stuff. Like, how do you
Yeah.
speak to those women who are struggling with that right now?
Yeah, a lot of it's hard because when you're in the middle of a tough situation and there's all kinds of reasons for that. It might just be that you're dealing with ongoing illness, or maybe you're in a marriage that isn't super happy, or you're dealing with all kinds of things where you feel like life keeps just hammering you down.
Yeah.
So when you're in the middle of it, it is difficult to see past that. And so one thing that I hear myself commonly saying to people is like, you go through seasons and seasons come and go. And you don't have to stay stuck in this one place forever. So sometimes you are in phases where you're white knuckling it and you're just getting through, and that's okay. Like life ebbs and flows, but you're
Yeah.
not always going to be in this place. And at some point, you're going to reach, you're going to reach the stage where you want to look past whatever trauma you're dealing with right now and see something better for yourself for the future. And it's possible, and it's not too late, no matter how old you are. I love the fact that my kind of aha moment came in, the early stages of middle age. And so it wasn't like I can't be sad and be like, "Oh my gosh, I've wasted so many years of my life and I'm so far
Right.
behind." The truth is it was the perfect time for me, and that can be the case for anyone.
Yeah. Is it ever too late?
I don't think so. I haven't
Yeah.
found that to be the case. I know a lot of people come in and say, like, "Is my case too far gone or is it too
Yeah.
bad?" I'm like, "I've never seen a case that was too far gone ever, and I don't look at life that way, and I don't like for people to look at that life that way." It's really about your mindset. If you're at a place where you're ready for change and you're ready to look ahead, then no matter where you are, it's go for it.
That's encouraging. That's good. So all of you listening out there, it's never too late and your situation's not too bad. So that's good. Okay, so let's talk some practicality now. So what would be one of, two or three first steps that you teach people to do?
Yeah, so great question. I think one of the first things that I always recommend is just opening your eyes and seeing the true picture of what's the reality.
That's
A
kind
lot
of
of people
scary.
are it is scary. A lot of people are scared even just like they're like, I don't even want to look at my credit report. Like I haven't looked at it in years and I'm scared of what's going to be there. And it's easy to just put your head in the sand and kind of la your way through it. But a lot of times people are surprised when they actually see the true picture, especially if I'm going through a credit report with someone and I'm like, here are all the things that are hurting you right now. But, sometimes it's overwhelming. But a lot of times when I go through it, I'm like, yes, it's a lot here, maybe, but all of this is doable. And so
Hmm.
just having that picture ahead of time is really great just to know where you're starting. So pulling a copy of your credit report and, seeing what's there. And then another thing would be identifying like what's actually hurting you right now. So, yes, you might have all these things on your credit report or things that you haven't dealt with, but a lot of people think that it's a lot worse than it really is. And so
Hmm.
just being able to identify like what is the big thing that's actually hurting you is great. And then you have a starting point of where to, start focusing.
Right. Well, let's back up a step and what exactly is a credit report and why do we have one?
So a credit report in a sense is like a report card of your finances. So it gives a snapshot of how you use money, what your history is. So it literally is a report card for you. And that's what a credit score is. And it shows lenders how trustworthy you are. If you're trying to apply for a loan or, some sort of financing, then they can look at that score to see, how well you can be trusted with that loan and whether or not they should approve you. So a credit report is very, very important because it's really the key to unlocking, whatever that you're trying to do financially, whether that's buying a house or purchasing a car, building a business, whatever it is. everything that you do borrow or do as far as lending goes on the credit report and is a picture for lenders to see.
Gotcha. It seems like there's so many things that can affect your credit report, whether you're opening a Kohl's charge card or you're getting an American Express to, using Klarna or some of those other places. Is there a specific kind of credit you should stay away from if you're doing credit?
Mentioned all of the ones that I would say to stay away from. So, and I think there's like several traps that people get into, especially us as women.
Mm.
Sometimes especially around the holidays, we might be out shopping for Christmas presents and you're at the cash register and they're like, hey,
You can save
30% off.
15%. That's quite a
Yeah,
bit.
right. And so that can be super tempting. But those types of credit, like store cards, for instance, when you're at Kohl's or Target or whatever, those can be really draining on your credit. They're not high value cards. They tend to have extremely high interest rates.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're super disciplined and you're going to pay it off the next day, that's awesome. But it's still going to be a drag to your credit because the account itself is not quality. So I
Uh,
always recommend stay away from store cards, stay away from short term loans like Klarna, Affirm. They've become very, very popular recently, and it's real easy just to kind of tag that and be like, yeah, I'll pay that
mhm.
over time. Problem is when you open a new account, it typically drops your scores initially for a new account to report to your credit. It also drops your scores when you pay the account off. So if you're
Which
buying a
doesn't make
car,
sense.
I know there's like so many weird rules, but if you're buying a car, for instance, you're going to have that drop in scores when you first apply and then again when you close it out at the end. But there's usually, 40 to 60 months in between that you're building history. So it makes it worth it. Whereas with short term loans like Klarna and Affirm, they're usually only for a few months. So you're getting a
Mhm.
hit and another hit very close together. So I always caution people to avoid using them if
Yeah,
possible.
fair enough. Hey, friend, just a quick break to remind you if calming your brain is the missing piece in your practice or in your home, my Mind Thrive certification course teaches you exactly how to do that with targeted amino acid therapy. So it's real science, real results, no band aids. Enrollment is now open. Link is in the show notes. So back to the show. So, what about people who just don't want to use cards? They just don't want, they want to pay cash for everything.
Hmm.
And they avoid those things, but then when they actually do need a loan, they don't have any credit. So what do you say to those people? And if you don't want to use a credit card, I mean, that's fine, right? But if
Yeah.
you're trying to get a loan for a house or something, then you're kind of stuck with those higher interest rates. So what do
Yeah.
you do about that?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of Dave Ramsey, like for instance, is very popular in the
Mhm.
market, and so that's very big mantra of like don't use credit at all. The problem with that is that it does affect everything. It affects even your insurance rates. I mean, it affects everything. So
Oh,
if
really? I
you
didn't
don't,
know that.
yes, and I found out that from my insurance rep, and he was like, "Laura, are you telling people this?" And I was like, "I didn't even know that." So that was really good to know. He said, "Oh yeah, we pull a credit report and just check. We do a soft pull on all of our members every year when their policy rolls over, and then their rates can go up and down depending on how they're scored."
I
So
had no idea.
yeah, so credit is huge for lots of reasons. And if you don't use credit at all, then your scores, in a sense, you'll have what's called a thin profile, which just means there's not a lot of history to look at. So your
Mhm.
scores will either be low or you could even have a zero score, which sounds really scary, but it just means there's not enough to like generate an actual score.
Right.
So you definitely want to have credit established. And the fastest, easiest way to establish credit is to get a credit card. I do run across people from time to time who feel very strongly that they don't want to use credit cards.
Mhm.
And I respect whatever people wish, but there are ways that you can use one in a way that really just protects you from, overuse or misuse. So one hack that I like to tell people about is open a credit card if you can't qualify for a card outright, like if your credit's not high enough to qualify, you can get what's called a secured credit card. In fact, I'll give you a website that I would recommend. I recommend this to everyone because they're a pretty solid company. You can go to OpenSky CC, so
Okay.
OpenSkyCC.com, and you can pay $200 for a secured card. That $200 secures your credit line of $200, and then essentially you just borrow against it every month when you use it.
Oh.
So one thing you can do when you open that card, if there's any like subscriptions that you use, like, Netflix, Amazon Prime,
Mhm.
whatever, something small, charge that to the card and just put it on auto pay every month. So it'll
That
charge
makes
that card
sense.
automatically and it will pay off automatically through your bank account. put the card in a drawer. You never have to use it. You don't have to think about it. Just make sure every month that it gets paid. And
That's a great
if you do
hack.
that, you'll have a perfect payment history. So that's an easy way
Amazing.
to build scores.
Okay, that's great. Can you just have that one secured card, the secured credit card, and can that build up your score alone, or do you have to do multiple things?
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's not ideally you want to have 2 credit cards and 1 installment loan. So
Okay.
there's different resources you can do for that. Some people a lot of times if they're very like finicky about having a credit card, I'll just start them out with 1 and
Mm-hmm.
then we'll build up to where when their scores are high enough then they can apply for like a Capital One or something like that that's easy to get and is not having they're not having to put a deposit down at that point. So you can go that route. It just takes a little bit longer. If you have more money up front, you can apply for 2 secured credit cards because 2 is a kind of ideal. And then an installment loan is very helpful. A lot of people have a car loan already. So if you do, that could count. A home loan will count, student loans will count. If you don't have any of those, you can go with credit builder accounts. Most banks have them. There's a company that I recommend called Self Lender.
Okay.
They're fabulous. You can get a loan for as little as $25 a month. It goes into a savings account. And so I love them because I'm like, it's encouraging people to save money and it
Yeah,
reports to the credit. So it's kind of a win-win. There's not really a whole lot of downside there. So
that's
that's
pretty
an
cool.
inexpensive way to get in.
Yeah. What's your feeling on like consolidation loans and what do I want to say? People have too many credit cards and then they negotiate that down. I forget what it's called.
So you're talking about like debt management
Debt
services?
management. Yeah.
Mm, I have a lot of customers that I work with that are in debt management. I do not recommend debt management. There's
Why is
very
that?
rarely ever been a time that I do. So essentially what debt management does is for people who are overwhelmed with their debt. So maybe they have like several credit cards, they're maxed out and they just don't have enough income to cover even the minimum
Yeah.
payments. So in situations like that, then debt management will come in and they will say, just stop paying everything. Let
Mhm.
everything go to collections and then it'll charge off. We'll wait about 6 months and then we'll negotiate a settlement. So if you owe $10,000 on the credit card, eventually they'll settle it for maybe, 5 or 6,000.
Sure.
So it discounts your debts dramatically, but the problem is it destroys your credit in the process. The other problem is that these companies, they don't go in and do good negotiations to protect your credit. They just go in, settle it for less, and then it reports that way on your credit. So now you have all of these accounts that are showing everyone, I didn't pay the full amount on these debts.
Right.
So it makes it very difficult to rebuild after that. So for that reason, I don't recommend them. Essentially, you can do it yourself. Like if you're in a bad situation with some coaching, you can go through that process yourself. And if you have to pick and choose which ones to pay, then you can always let something go. It's not ideal, but it's better than just letting everything go
Sure.
south and then trying to rebuild later.
Right. So do you work with people in helping them create a vision? Do you create a financial plan? Like what are your first steps when you start working with people?
Yeah. So when I meet with someone, we always go over the credit report together and then work up a plan that's specific to them. Everybody's goals are different. So some people are just like, I don't need anything. I just want to get out of debt. And if that's the case, that's pretty fun for me because I love working up strategy. And
Mhm.
so we'll look at their whole profile and see all the debts that they have. And then we'll start prioritizing what to focus on. And then if there are situations that are more complicated, like I just mentioned, where they don't have enough money to cover everything and we have to kind of strategically decide what gets paid and what doesn't, that's a little bit of a longer term process, but it can be done. Some people are just trying to avoid major catastrophes like having to file bankruptcy or, things like that.
Right.
I'm trying to avoid lawsuits and, but whatever comes up along the way, we help them, guide them through it so that they know how to deal with those things and still improve their credit scores.
That's awesome. So you had mentioned like Dave Ramsey before and things like how do you feel about those types of services or those types of teachers when it comes to money management?
I've been through Dave Ramsey's course twice.
Mhm.
So I'm very familiar with it. And I think that it's really, really helpful, especially for, like if young people are starting out or young families, I think it's very impactful because it teaches them the skills that they need just to like budget wisely, to learn to say no to things at a time when it's probably crucial financially. So I think those things are very helpful. I think when we run into like issues with that type of teaching is when we're looking at, especially like business owners or people who are looking to grow and scale and invest. and grow financially. Then it becomes the bigger issue because it's very difficult to do that with a cash only thought
Right.
process. So
Right.
I kind of take a balanced approach with it. We use some of the debt snowball principles in our coaching. So
Mhm.
we're very familiar with that. And I think there's a lot of good places for those to be used. But we're just a little bit more balanced that it's okay to have both, especially for people who are responsible and looking to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. When somebody is looking to rebuild their credit, well, let's back up just a second. So gone through a divorce, right?
Yeah.
If you were going to speak to a woman who there might be a divorce on the horizon for them, what would be a couple things that you would say to them to get into order before that happens?
This is such an important question, and almost every week I have at least one phone call with someone in this situation. Not necessarily if they're already been divorced, but even women who are saying things like, "I'm with a partner who owns everything. Like
Mhm.
I'm not on the house, I'm not on the cars, I don't even have my own checking account." There's so many women in this situation, and they may not even be in a bad relationship.
Right.
It could even just be like, what if he gets sick or what if something tragic happens? How do I find myself like alone and trying to navigate at the financial world when I'm completely unprepared?
Mhm.
So for that reason, I'm just that's on my soapbox a little bit of like every woman needs to be prepared, not for something terrible to happen, but just because you never know. It could even be that your partner needs your support at some point for some reason.
Right.
So getting the credit in a good position so that you're ready is vital. And it could just be as simple as, again, just pulling the credit report, see what it looks like now.
Mhm.
Establish some credit lines so that you have something in your own name. It's okay to have, your husband or your partner with, owning things, but you need to own something too. So just having a credit card or two in your own name or a loan in your own name is very helpful so that you can stand on your own 2 feet if you need to. And just preparing, especially for women who are facing divorce, that's coming. So like go ahead and start working on that now so that you're prepared, um, to be able to stand on your own.
Right. And that doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you
Right.
smart.
Exactly, yes. And again, it doesn't matter what the reason is. It's heartbreaking because it's not just women who are facing divorce. I've also have regular conversations with women who are in dangerous situations
Right.
and they feel like they can't leave and they can't
Because
get
of
out
finances.
because financially, what are they going to do? How are they going to support their kids? Where are they going to go?
Mhm.
So I hate to see women feel stuck and where they can't get into a safe position if they need to.
Yeah. And so many, people say, and I'm a Christian. And so in that world, it's never about the money. Guess what? It is about the money. It is
Mhm.
about the money. If you don't have money, you're going to be stuck in a situation like that. If you don't have money, you can't pay your medical bills. If you don't have money, there's so many, if you don't have money, like money makes the world go round.
It does.
And we have to, and I'm speaking to myself when I say this because I've gone through very poor financial literacy and just afraid of money. And I
Yes.
love the fact that you're talking to women because I know so many women in there. Like I didn't even, and I run a business and it wouldn't be till the end of the year that I would finally go through everything because I was afraid that I wasn't doing well. The first year that I hit six figures, I had no idea, Laura, that I didn't. I thought I
Yeah.
was totally failing and I did all the numbers and stuff. And had I been tracking, I
Yeah.
probably would have made better financial choices, right?
Right.
In that, because I'm like, where did all the money go? Because I didn't track it. Because I just
Yeah.
expected myself not to do well. And that we really do need to shift our mindset around that because money does, it affects every aspect of your life. And you have to know how to use it, how to spend it, how to save it, how to give it, how to do all of those things.
I love that you mentioned that about your mindset because I think it does really guide our decisions even when we're
Mhm.
not aware of it.
Yeah.
So just having that awareness is huge.
Yeah, well, even just let's talk a little about money mindset. Like just rewarding yourself because you achieved a goal. Like I felt so guilty for that for years and years and years. I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. No, celebrate your wins. It's going to cost you a little money,
Yes.
but that's okay. Like put that
Yes.
aside and like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go buy a new set of sheets. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
those kind of things like, hey, I can do that now. These are the sheets that I want. They're $300,
Right.
but they're like linen and whatever it might be. But
Yes.
money should be fun. And we've made it into, when I think about credit reports and the James Ramsey courses, all this kind of thing, is it can feel really daunting. It can feel
Mhm.
like trying to fix your credit, like the shame and the guilt. And like, I suck at money.
Yes, I hear that
I
all the
mean, how
time.
all of these negative things that we tell ourselves. And I just want money to be fun.
Yeah.
So I think what you're doing is great because you can help make money fun again for people.
Yes, because when you feel confident in what you're doing and you have a plan, that's one thing that's like I wish everyone could get the vision of is like when you look ahead towards next year, like we're getting ready to have a new year soon. What
Hmm.
do you want next year to look like? I mean, sometimes it's daunting to look ahead 5 years or 10 years. I At some point we should get to the place where we can, but
Yeah.
if you're not there yet, just look ahead to the next 12 months. What do you want
Right.
it to look like?
The next
What
3 months.
goals do you have?
Yeah.
Yes, anything. And so, yeah, being able to look ahead and then have confidence that I have a plan. It may not happen exactly like I want it to, but there's still a plan in place and you can walk forward feeling confident. And then money becomes super fun, like you said, because
Yeah.
you can see those goals and they're within reach.
Yeah. Which is exciting because then you don't feel like a total failure.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God. So if you were going to give people one small doable action today, what would you tell them to do?
So I would say one thing, and this might be something that your listeners would enjoy. I have a blueprint that that I actually use in my coaching.
Okay.
And if I'd love to give it to your listeners as
That would be
well.
great. I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, so and I'll give you my number and then if they just text me the word blueprint, we'll send it to them. But this is the blueprint that we use with our customers and it walks them through where you are now and what that journey looks like to getting called our 800 score blueprint. So all the way up to 800 scores.
Wow.
So I would say that would be a great first step of just seeing like identifying where are you in this blueprint plan and what are your next steps? Because it can be overwhelming when you're trying to figure all this out. Like that's what I hear every day. Every phone call almost is like, I just don't know what to do next. Like this is so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to identify that is huge. And then of course, if anyone needs extra help with that beyond, then I'm certainly more than happy to jump on a call and help them identify that too.
Oh, I love that. I love it. So we'll have all of that in the show notes, everyone. So if you didn't catch all that, go to the show notes. Gosh, Laura, this has been fantastic. Is there one last thing that you want to share with anybody?
Lastly, I would just say that, embrace the beauty of womanhood, being who you are, and being free to dream bigger. If I could shout that from the rooftops, I would. Don't be afraid to dream bigger. Go beyond where you are now, what you can see now, where you feel like you're stuck, and just start planning. Just start looking ahead. What do you actually want? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go? And start working on that belief system that you can achieve it. It is doable. Just having the right blueprint to guide you there is everything. So,
I
yeah,
love it.
thank you so much.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate you and all that you're doing. And I know our listeners are going to love this as well. So, and thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this because I know that you know somebody who needs this video, who needs to hear this information. So, soak it up into your own heart and share it with somebody else. God bless you. See you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to Take Back My Brain. If today's episode helped you connect with hope or direction, I want you to follow the show, leave us a review, and share it with someone who needs it. And if you're ready to start your own healing journey, explore our courses and our coaching programs at lauriehammer.com/store. So until next time, remember, you cannot medicate away a nutrient deficiency, and healing your brain isn't just possible, it's powerful.